had that feeling. A blizzard rages outside, and all you crave is a fresh, aromatic vegetable soup. You head to the grocery store, and what do you find? Flavourless tomatoes that taste like plastic, and carrots that feel more like rubber. But what if I told you that you could enjoy your own succulent, vitamin-packed vegetables all winter long, and for that, you won't need an enormous industrial freezer? Today, we're going to create your personal winter pantry. I'll share the top 8 vegetable champions that can be stored for months without losing their flavour or nutritional value. And I promise, by the end, you'll discover the ultimate secret that will transform your basement or even your balcony into a true treasure trove. Let's imagine a world without refrigerators for a moment. That's exactly the world our ancestors lived in. For them, preserving vegetables for winter wasn't a hobby, it was a matter of survival. The root cellar was the heart of the home, and the skill of properly preserving the harvest was worth its weight in gold. Their centuries-old methods still work today. We've simply refined them a bit. Understanding these simple principles is the key to success. It's not about complex science, but about understanding the nature of each vegetable. So let's open our imaginary root cellar. And who greets us first? None other than His Majesty, the potato. It's not just a vegetable, it's the very foundation of our winter diet. Hearty, delicious, incredibly versatile. You can make anything from simple mashed potatoes to festive casseroles with it. But for these precious potatoes to last until spring, firm and sprout-free, there's one crucial secret you need to know. Here's the most common mistake, one that even experienced gardeners make. They meticulously wash their potatoes before storing them. It seems logical, doesn't it? Cleaner and tidier. But in reality, this is a direct path to your entire harvest spoiling. Why does this happen? The thin layer of soil that remains on the tubers is their natural armour. It protects the potatoes from bacteria and prevents them from losing moisture. When you wash the tubers, you strip away this protective barrier, and the moisture left on the skin creates ideal conditions for rot and mould to develop. So what should you do? It's actually quite simple. After digging them up, let the potatoes dry in the shade for a couple of hours. Then, gently brush off large clumps of soil with a soft brush or simply by hand, wearing gloves. You don't need to aim for pristine cleanliness. After this comes the most crucial stage, the curing period. Spread the potatoes in a single layer in a dark, cool, but well-ventilated place for 1 to 2 weeks. During this time, any minor scratches will heal and their skins will toughen up. Now they'll be ready for a long winter storage in crates or mesh bags. Remember, dry and slightly dirty potatoes are the key to success. Next up, coming in at number 2 on our list, is the orange queen herself, the humble carrot. Sweet, crunchy, and perfect for a fresh salad or juice, even in the dead of winter. Admit it, there's nothing more disappointing than pulling out a carrot in January, only to find it soft and limp, fit for nothing but a soup base. So, what's the problem? The carrot's biggest enemy is moisture loss. That's what makes it go limp and lose its famous crunch. But our grandparents knew how to combat this, and their method is foolproof. Introducing sand storage. It might sound a bit old-fashioned, but it's a real spa treatment for your carrots. You'll need a crate or box and clean, slightly damp sand. And I emphasise, not wet, but just damp. Think of soil after a gentle rain. If the sand is too dry, it will actually draw moisture out of the carrots, and if it's too wet, they'll simply rot. Here's the process. Carrots, like potatoes, should not be washed. Instead, air dry them in the shade, brush off any clinging dirt, and very importantly, trim the greens. Leave a small stub of about 1 centimetre. If you don't do this, the greens will continue to grow, drawing all the moisture and nutrients out of the root. Grab your box. Spread a 3 to 5 centimetre layer of sand at the bottom. Lay your first layer of carrots, making sure the roots don't touch each other. This is key. Then completely cover them with sand. Add another layer on top and cover those again. Continue this process, layer by layer, until the box is full. This method creates an ideal microclimate for the carrots, keeping them juicy and firm until spring. And now, let's talk about a root vegetable with a truly Russian spirit, the beetroot. Without it, neither a hearty borscht nor the famous herring under a fur coat would be imaginable. Its rich, ruby colour and unique, sweet, earthy flavour are the hallmark of many traditional winter dishes. However, despite its robust appearance, beetroot can be quite finicky when it comes to storage. The main secret to its longevity and juiciness lies in how you handle its greens, and here, one wrong move could cost you your entire harvest. Many home gardeners, aiming for neatness, cut the greens right at the root, or even break them off by hand. This is a critical error. The cut point becomes an open invitation for all sorts of infections and fungi, just waiting to settle into the juicy root. Moreover, through this kind of injury, the beetroot quickly loses precious moisture and begins to wilt. So how do you do it correctly? Take a sharp knife or pruning shears. Cut the greens, leaving 1 to 2 centimetres of stem. These small stumps effectively seal the root, preventing it from drying out and protecting it from diseases. After trimming, beetroot needs to be dried, not in direct sunlight, but in a shaded, well-ventilated area. After that, you can store them in boxes, layering them with dry sand, sawdust, or even just stacking them in small pyramids. Thanks to this simple but crucial step, your beetroot will remain firm, juicy and sweet, ready at any moment to become the heart of your beloved borscht. No winter kitchen is truly complete without it. Of course, we're talking about onions. Their pungent aroma and sharp flavour can transform any dish. And raw, they're a great ally in fighting off colds. Onions might seem like the most undemanding vegetable. Just toss them in a drawer and they'll keep. But that's a dangerous misconception. The main myth we're about to debunk is that onions can be stored just about anywhere, especially next to potatoes. Many people do exactly that, giving them a shared drawer in the pantry. But that's a sure way to ruin both. Here's the catch. Potatoes release a lot of moisture while in storage, and onions instantly absorb this moisture. As a result, they quickly turn soft and start to rot from the inside out. In turn, onions emit gases that accelerate potato sprouting. It becomes a vicious cycle where two perfectly good vegetables spoil each other. So where should you store onions? They need a dry, dark, and most importantly, well-ventilated place. The ideal storage method, which might surprise you with its simplicity, involves old nylon tights or stockings. Yes, you heard that right. This is no joke. Simply place one onion in a stocking, tie a knot, then add the next onion and tie another knot. Continue this process until you have an onion garland. Hang it in a dry place, such as a pantry or an enclosed balcony. This way, each onion gets excellent airflow, they don't touch each other, and the risk of spoilage is minimised. Simple, effective, and almost free. Next, let's turn our attention to its younger, yet far more potent cousin, garlic. This natural antibiotic and indispensable seasoning demands a special, almost reverent approach. While onions can be stored in a relatively cool place, garlic prefers warmer and drier conditions. One of the most common mistakes people make is storing garlic in the refrigerator. At first glance, it might seem logical, but the cold and humidity of the fridge are actually detrimental to it. Garlic quickly starts to sprout, loses its pungency and firmness, and sometimes even develops mould. The fridge is only suitable for very short-term storage, perhaps a week or two at most. For long-term storage, garlic needs a dry place at room temperature. And here, our ingenuity and simple household items come to the rescue once again. The ideal storage solution for garlic, much like for onions, involves simple nylon stockings or mesh bags. The principle is the same. You create garlands where each head is well ventilated and doesn't come into contact with its neighbours. You can hang them directly in the kitchen, away from the stove and sink, where they can also serve as a quaint decorative element. Another excellent method is storing garlic in glass jars. Simply separate the heads into individual cloves, no need to peel them, and pack them snugly into a dry, clean jar. Do not cover the jar with a lid. You can sprinkle a layer of salt on top. This will help absorb any excess moisture. This way, your garlic will keep perfectly until spring, remaining firm, pungent and aromatic. Most importantly, keep it away from moisture and cold. Well, it's time to talk about cabbage. Big, juicy, crunchy. A true queen of winter salads and hearty stews. But how do you keep this hefty beauty fresh so you can still slice up a vibrant, vitamin-packed salad in February instead of pulling a wilted, discoloured head from the root cellar? The main challenge when storing cabbage is the drying out of its outer leaves and its susceptibility to rot. A cabbage head is a living organism. It breathes and releases moisture. Our goal is to create an ideal microclimate for it that slows down these processes. And here's a highly effective technique: individual wrapping. The simplest and most readily available material for this is standard plastic wrap. Take a firm, healthy head of cabbage, first removing a couple of its outer damaged leaves. Leave the core intact, about 2 to 3 centimeters long. Now carefully and tightly wrap each head in several layers of plastic wrap. Try to leave as little air as possible trapped underneath the wrap. The wrap will create a barrier that prevents moisture evaporation, yet still allows the cabbage to breathe. It's like putting a personal protective suit on your cabbage. Once prepared, these heads can be stored on shelves in a root cellar or in boxes on a balcony. It's important that they don't touch each other. Check your stored cabbage periodically. If you notice any condensation under the wrap, simply remove it, wipe the head dry, and re-wrap it in fresh plastic. This simple method significantly extends the life of your cabbage, preserving its freshness and crunch. And now for the heavy hitters of our winter pantry, pumpkins and their close relatives, winter squash. These orange and green giants are true champions when it comes to long-term storage. A properly prepared squash can last not just until spring, but sometimes even until the next harvest. But to achieve this, they need to go through one very crucial process. Many people simply harvest their squash and immediately take them to the cellar, only to wonder why, a month or two later, they develop soft spots and begin to rot. The secret lies in the fact that freshly harvested squash has very tender skin, making it vulnerable to damage and bacteria. It needs time to cure. This process is known simply as curing. After you cut the squash from the vine, always leaving a stem 5 to 10 centimeters long, it needs to be left in the sun for 1 to 2 weeks. Simply place it in a sunny, well-ventilated spot. You can even do this right in the garden bed. Just be sure to place a board underneath to prevent direct contact with damp soil. So what exactly happens during this time? Under the sun's rays, the squash's skin toughens and hardens, becoming like a protective shell. Minor scratches heal over and excess moisture evaporates. Additionally, during this curing period, the flesh develops its maximum sugar content, making the squash even sweeter and more flavourful. Only after this sun cure is your squash truly ready for long-term storage in a dark, dry and cool place. This simple yet critically important step guarantees your squash will last and be enjoyed throughout the entire winter. And rounding out our top 8, we have an undeservedly overlooked hero, a true veteran of the Russian garden, the humble turnip. Today, we're accustomed to potatoes being the cornerstone of our meals, but it wasn't always this way. For centuries, it was the turnip that served as the primary staple food throughout ancient Rus. It was cooked into porridges, steamed, baked, and even fermented into kvass. The saying, easier than steamed turnip, didn't come from nowhere. Thankfully, turnips are now making a comeback to our tables, and that's fantastic news. They're a treasure trove of vitamins, especially vitamin C, containing even more than lemons. But to truly enjoy their sweet, slightly pungent flavour in winter, rather than a bitter and woody one, proper storage is key. The secret to successful turnip storage lies in stability. They don't tolerate fluctuating temperatures or humidity. Ideal conditions involve temperatures around freezing or slightly above, coupled with high humidity, close to 90%. These conditions are most easily achieved in a root cellar or basement. Like other root vegetables, turnips should not be washed before storage. Trim the greens, leaving small stubs. The best method, similar to storing carrots, involves using crates filled with damp sand or peat. This helps maintain the necessary humidity and protects the root vegetables from drying out. Layer the turnips, sprinkling each layer with sand to ensure the roots don't touch each other. If sand isn't available, sawdust or moss can be used. For apartment dwellers, turnips can be stored in plastic bags with several ventilation holes, placed in the coolest spot available, such as an enclosed balcony. The main goal is to prevent them from drying out. This way, they'll retain their delightful juiciness and sweetness. You might think, here's the list, just follow it, right? But here's the crucial twist that changes everything. The secret to successful storage isn't just having a list of vegetables. The real magic lies in understanding how they interact with each other. Some vegetables are best friends, while others are sworn enemies that shouldn't even share the same room. A perfect example is apples and potatoes. Apples release ethylene gas, which dramatically speeds up the sprouting and spoilage of potatoes, and onions stored near potatoes will absorb their moisture and begin to rot. So you could perfectly prepare each vegetable, but one mistake in their placement can completely undo all your hard work. Temperature, humidity, and ventilation are the three pillars of successful long-term storage. And understanding which veggies play nice together, that's the game changer, the defining difference between an amateur and a true pro. Your pantry or storage area isn't just a warehouse, it's an ecosystem where every vegetable has its unique role and ideal spot. So, to recap, creating your own winter supply of fresh produce is absolutely achievable. The key is choosing the right roommates for your cellar and knowing a few crucial rules for their care. It's simple, economical, and incredibly delicious. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. If you found this information new and useful, please give us a like and subscribe to our channel for more helpful tips and advice. Now, a question for you. Do you have any family secrets for storing vegetables over the winter? Or perhaps one of the vegetables we mentioned was a surprising revelation for you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's learn from each other.